I'm not one of those guys who gets into neighborhood drama. I like my space. I like my peace. And I especially like when people mind their own damn business. That's half the reason I bought the land in Pine Hollow in the first place, tucked back behind a ridge, one way in, one way out, and a keypad gate that made sure only folks who were supposed to be there actually got in. When I moved in 3 years ago, I didn't care much for the HOA politics. My property line technically sat just outside their jurisdiction. The previous owner had opted out decades ago, and that suited me fine. I wasn't trying to argue about mailbox heights or what color mulch I could use. I just wanted to grill my burgers, walk my dog Hank, and enjoy the kind of quiet that comes from a little distance. But distance isn't always enough when someone decides your business is their business. It all started with a gate code. I'd given it to maybe 4 people. My brother, my best friend Leo, the plumber I'd known since high school, and the FedEx guy, who I trusted after he carried a 100-pound generator up my slope during a snowstorm. That's it. No one else. So when I started seeing strange cars coming up the gravel, day after day, I knew something was off. I thought maybe I'd forgotten someone. Maybe it was a neighbor needing to turn around, or some kind of GPS glitch. But after the 5th car, a dusty white Honda full of teenagers looking for a pool party, I checked the logs. 28 entries in 4 days. None of them matched anyone I'd authorized. Every single one used the code. My code. The only way that many people got in was if someone had shared it, and not just shared it once. It was being passed around like Halloween candy. That night, I sat down with a cold beer and scrolled through security footage. There they were. Teenagers, random delivery folks, even a guy who looked like he was filming for social media, narrating some hidden gem community walkthrough. And every single one typed in the same code. Now, I don't get mad easily, but this felt like a violation. A private gate is like a front door. You don't just hand out the key because someone asks nice. You sure as hell don't share it without telling the owner. So I did a little digging. It didn't take long to figure it out. There was one common thread, a new community bulletin post by the HOA. Someone had helpfully posted my gate code with a note that said, for VY siders, deliveries, or overflow parking access via North Lot Gate. Code 7812. The poster? Monica Brandt, president of the HOA. A woman with the charm of a cactus and the subtlety of a marching band. I didn't know her well, but I'd seen her around, always in a pantsuit too crisp for a suburban sidewalk, always holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. She once knocked on my door to complain that my motion sensor lights were too aggressive. That should have been my first clue. So I gave her a call. Monica, I said, keeping it polite, did you post my gate code online? Her pause was all the answer I needed. Well, she finally said, voice clipped. Technically, it wasn't your gate. It's the neighborhood's access route. People use it all the time. No, Monica, I use it. That gate sits on my land. The HOA doesn't have an easement. That code was private. She huffed like I was being unreasonable. We're building community, not castles. You're being territorial. Damn right I'm being territorial. It's my territory. She hung up on me. That's when I knew it was war. I changed the code that night, locked the gate tighter than a bank vault. But I didn't stop there. I installed a new keypad, logged every entry, and added a small camera that triggered every time someone stood at the gate longer than 5 seconds. I wanted proof. The next morning, the call started. Hey, I'm trying to make a delivery. My GPS says this is the way. I'm locked out. Monica said. Every time, I calmly told them the code had changed and to contact the HOA. By noon, Monica was back at my gate this time, yelling through the speaker like she was auditioning for a courtroom drama. This is unacceptable. I pressed the intercom. I agree. You've created a huge inconvenience for dozens of residents. You created it, Monica. I just closed the gate. Her face turned crimson. You're acting like a child. No, Monica. I'm acting like a property owner. She threatened to escalate the matter. I smiled and said, can't wait. But I wasn't done yet. That evening, I printed a new sign, laminated it, mounted it clean on the gatepost. It read, "Access code changed. For entry, please contact HOA President Monica, 555-019-8821. Her personal number. The same one she used on the HOA contact sheet. The same one she'd used to share my private code." I figured turnabout was fair play. It took less than 24 hours for the chaos to hit. My cameras caught everything. A pizza guy stood there for 6 straight minutes, dialing. 2 Uber drivers circled the block 3 times before GIVing up. One guy leaned on the horn until someone told him the new protocol. And Monica? She must have gotten 100 calls. I know, because by day 2, she left me a voicemail so loud it distorted. "You think this is funny? You put my number on a sign? This is harassment." I saved the message. The thing is, I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was justice. Monica had taken something private, something that belonged to me, and made it public without asking, without explaining, and without apologizing. And when she got a taste of that same medicine, suddenly it was a crisis. Funny how that works. Word started spreading through the neighborhood. At first, it was whispers. People asking what happened. Then it turned to laughter. Memes. Screenshots. One guy made a parody flyer. "Need access? Call Queen Monica's Castle hotline." But then something interesting happened. People started talking about other things Monica had done. Fines that didn't make sense. Memos that contradicted HOA bylaws. Decisions made behind closed doors. Folks who'd been too scared or tired to fight started asking questions. I guess nobody likes a tyrant, even a well-dressed one. And me? I just kept sipping my coffee, watching it unfold. Until the HOA called an emergency meeting. It was held in the community rec center. Beige walls, folding chairs, and an air conditioner that hadn't worked right since 2009. I showed up with a folder under my arm, dressed in jeans and boots. Monica stood at the front, flanked by 2 board members, looking like she was about to conduct a corporate firing. She opened with a speech about respect, order, and community standards. She talked about how some indie duels had disrupted the harmony. She didn't name me, but every eye in the room turned my way. And when they opened the floor for comments, I stood up. I didn't yell, didn't curse, just walked to the projector, plugged in a USB, and played a short video security footage, timestamped logs, her memo with my gate code. Then I showed the HOA charter, the boundary maps, and the legal status of my land. Lastly, I pulled out her public contact form with her phone number clearly listed and held it up. "This isn't about pettiness," I said, voice even. "It's about accountability." Monica didn't just overstep. She trampled. And when someone finally pushed back, she called it harassment. The room was dead silent. Then someone clapped. Then another. And then it turned into a slow, rising applause. Someone called for a vote of no confidence. Monica turned pale. By the end of the night, she was voted out, removed from the board entirely. She moved out 3 months later. Said she needed a fresh start. Left behind a house with the blinds always closed and a reputation that never quite recovered. The new HOA president is a guy named Marcus. He's chill. Drives a beat-up Ford. Believes in fewer rules and more BBQs. We get along fine. As for my gate, it's still up. Still private. Still mine. But the sign's gone now. Not because I lost, but because I won. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud. It's measured. It's poetic. It's fair. So yeah, I guess you could say Monica taught me a lesson, just not the one she meant to. She taught me that you don't need to shout to make a point. You just need a sign, a plan, and the patience to let the truth speak louder than the drama. And to anyone watching this, I want to know, if someone crossed your line, shared your space, violated your trust, would you fight back? Would you be clever? Would you stand up? Or would you just let it slide? Tell me below, because in a world full of Monicas, sometimes the only way to keep your peace is to protect it with a little humor and a whole lot of backbone.